He called up and asked to talk to you, and you were busy, so I invited him.
Oh, no. This is all a dream.
And after dinner, Al's going to drop over, and if Professor Kropotkin comes up, it'll be a wonderful party.
Oh, no, this is a nightmare. Give me that phone. Maybe it's not too late to stop him. Oh, dear. Hello? Hello, is Mr. Rhinelander there? He's not? Well, could you please tell me where he went? He left to go to a dinner party at a Miss Jane Stacy's. Thank you.
Jane, what are you doing?
Nothing. Just writing a suicide note.
And now the Sportsman with Lud Gluskin and his orchestra and their own special arrangement of...
Good night, ladies, good night, ladies, good night, ladies, we're gonna leave you now. Merrily we roll along, roll along, roll along, merrily we roll along, o'er the deep blue sea, o'er the deep blue sea. Farewell, ladies. Goodbye.
So long.
Good night, toodaloo. Farewell, ladies. Goodbye.
So long.
Good night, toodaloo. Farewell, ladies, for we're gonna leave you now. Merrily, merrily we roll along, merrily, merrily we roll along, merrily, merrily we roll along o'er the deep blue sea. Merrily we roll along, roll along, roll along, merrily we roll along o'er the deep blue. Merrily we roll along, roll along, roll along, merrily we roll along o'er the deep. Merrily we roll along, roll along, roll along, merrily we roll along o'er the. Merrily we roll along, roll along, roll along, merrily we roll along o'er the deep, deep blue sea.
Well, Richard Rhinelander III is coming to dinner. Now I'm really trapped because I told him that I lived in an artistic neighborhood and that my roommate was a budding novelist. How could I justify having him sit around with that scintillating duo of conversationalists, Irma and Al? Mr. Rhinelander is expecting an evening based on table talk a la Information, Please. What he's going to get is People Are Funny or It Pays to Be Ignorant. Well, finally, 7:30 rolled around. The bottle of martinis was catching a chill in the icebox, and I was running a fever in the living room. Richard would be arriving at any minute, and Irma wasn't ready. Irma, sweetie, it's 7:30.
I know, Jane. I'm just getting into my dress. How do you like it?
Don't you think you ought to get a little further into it?
Al likes this dress.
Al would, but Mr. Rhinelander wouldn't. Now, come on, huh? You've got just time to waltz this broom around a few times.
Okay.
Irma, huh? No, don't sweep the dirt under the rug. Man downstairs has been complaining.
Complaining?
Yeah, you know, that hole in the floor.
Jane, I have a wonderful idea. Why don't we take the rug off, and then with a hole in the ceiling, we'll have cross ventilation.
Oh. Irma, I'm so nervous.
Well, don't worry. I'll handle everything. Haven't you confidence in me?
Well, certainly I have.
Well, then why are you shaking?
I always shake like this before I have a nervous breakdown. Now, Irma, let's not be nervous, huh? Let's just take it easy. Now, let's see. First, we serve the martinis, and then...
I don't have to drink a martini, do I, Jane?
What's that got to do with it?
I'd rather have milk.
Well, how can you drink milk when we're drinking martinis?
Oh, I know. I'll drink milk, but I'll put an olive in it.
Oh, Irma. He's here. Oh, he's here. Now listen to me, Irma. I'm not worried. I'm not worried. I've got confidence in you, and I know you'll do everything right, because if you don't, I think I'll kill myself and then you. Now, you ready? Okay. Irma, put the broom away. Come in.
I beg your pardon, but does Jane Stacy Oh, of course. Good evening, Jane. I didn't recognize you for a moment.
That's because she didn't take the curlers out of her hair.
How silly of me. Come in, Mr. Rhinelander. May I present my roommate, Irma?
How do you do?
Hello.
Irma, would you mind taking Mr. Rhinelander's hat?
I can't.
Why not?
His head is still in it.
Oh, I'm sorry. Here it is.
Irma, now that you have Mr. Rhinelander's hat, would you mind taking the broom away from him?
Oh.
Irma, now that you have the broom, would you mind taking Mr. Rhinelander's hat away from him? Oh. Won't you sit down, Mr. Rhinelander?
Oh, thank you, Jane, but you don't have to be so formal. My friends always call me Richard.
Thank you. Cigarette, Richard?
Thank you.
Match, Richard?
Thank you.
Ashtray, Richard?
Thank you. Cigarette, Irma?
Thank you.
Match, Irma?
Thank you.
Ashtray, Irma?
No, thank you. I don't smoke.
You writers, you're all alike. Witty and eccentric.
Yes, I knew you'd like Irma's wit. It's so natural.
Yes, so I noticed. My, what a charming apartment you have here. When will the remodeling be finished?
Remodeling? Remodeling? This is it?
Yes, it's small, but our neighbors are so interesting. Artists, writers, musicians, you know. For instance, there's a very famous violinist who lives downstairs. He's Professor Kropotkin.
Kropotkin? Kropotkin?
Yeah, he plays in the Paradise Burlesque. Have you ever been there?
Well, I don't think so.
Well, it doesn't matter. You wouldn't have seen him anyway because he plays the violin under the runway.
Yes, a lot of our neighbors are eccentric, but they're all artistic.
Oh, I know what you mean. A charming environment.
Yes.
You know, it's hot in here. I think I'll open the window.
Hey, Mrs. Flanagan! Did you hear the news about Johnny O'Toole downstairs? Last night he come home roaring drunk and staggering up the stairs.
Shall we go in to dinner? If I live to be the oldest woman in the United States and Canada, I'll never forget that dinner. It started off with Irma taking from the right and serving from the left. She also did a little dropping in the middle. And Mr. Rhinelander looked very fetching wearing a hamburger over his right eye. Then we got to the dessert. And it seems that Irma had put the dessert in the wrong tray in the icebox. It was the first time I'd ever tasted cauliflower sherbet. So much for the food. The conversation was a monster in its own right. Richard said,
Fortunately, I've been able to travel considerably. Irma, do you like to travel?
And Irma said,
Oh, yes, it's really the only way to get any place.
Well, finally it was over, and we decided to have our coffee in the living room.
Well, Jane, that was an excellent dinner.
Thank you.
Wonderful food.
That's nothing unusual. We always have food for dinner.
Oh, Irma, you have a priceless wit. Hasn't she, Jane?
She has? Oh, yes, she has.
You know, Mr. Rhinelander, I envy Jane working for you.
Yes, the investment business can be exciting, but, you know, I wish I had more time for sports.
Oh, you do love sports, don't you, Richard?
Yes, I don't like to brag or appear stuffy, but at college I won my letter in 6 different sports.
Oh, isn't that wonderful? And weren't you voted the best-looking man on the campus?
Oh, well, Jane, that was only kid stuff. But getting back to sports, since going into business with Dad, he sort of kept me hopping. You know how the office is, but, Jane, with you being the capable secretary you are, I've been able to find some time for squash and badminton at the athletic club.
Oh, well, personally, I love golf. It's such an exciting game, and yet it's so simple.
Yes, but you know, tennis has a dash of that same excitement.
I swim, ride horseback, play tennis, bowl, and shoot pool.
Irma, do you really do all those things?
No, but I have to keep up my end of the conversation.
More coffee, Richard?
No, thank you.
I think you're wise. Coffee does keep one awake.
Yes, coffee does have that effect on me. How about you, Irma?
They've got an awful lot of coffee in Brazil.
Irma, we know you're in the conversation, dear. Just take it easy.
Well, okay, I think I'll open the window.
No, don't. No, Irma, the window. No.
And the next night Johnny O'Toole comes home again, roaring drunk, staggering up the stairs, carrying an arm like...
Chilly out tonight, isn't it, Richard?
Well, now let's get down to business. When are you two going to get married?
Irma!
Oh,
Richard, I really don't know what to say.
Well, Irma, really, I'm very fond of Jane, but of course you know there's my father.
Your father, let him get his own girl.
Oh, Irma. Oh, come in.
Hiya, folks.
What a surprise. Look, Jane, it's Al.
The next sound you hear is Jane Stacy blowing her brains out.
Al, I'd like you to meet Richard Rhinelander III. Richard, this is my boyfriend, Al.
How do you do?
Well, hiya, Richard. Heard a lot about you.
Richard, wouldn't you care to go to a movie or something?
Oh, no sense in breaking up the party. Let's sit around and chew the fat.
Richard's not hungry, Al. We just finished dinner.
Well, Rich, what's new on the street?
The street?
Yeah, you know, the exchange.
Oh, well, cotton was a little slow this past week.
Uh-huh. Knew it. What about steel?
It's a little off.
I knew it. Richard, you can see for yourself the handwritings on the wall.
Really?
You gotta get out of Wall Street.
I do?
Oh, absolutely. Sure, you could plug along, making $1 million here and $1 million there, but have you got security?
Well, Al, I'm pretty satisfied with the investment business, and I think there's a great future in it for me. Granddad was president, and then Father became president, and soon I'll be president.
You see what I mean, Irma?
Yeah, the whole family's in a rut.
But it's not too late, Rich. There's a place for you in my organization.
Richard, let's go to a movie.
No, Jane, let him talk. This whole thing may develop into a merger.
Merger, you're right, Irma. Richard, I'm going to make a big man out of you. How would you like to team up with me?
Well,
Now, listen to me, Richard.
Well-
Here's the plan. We've a chance to corner the market on surplus ripcords. We'll go out into the open market, buy short, sell long.
Jane, the evening's going just like I planned. The boys are in there getting along beautifully.
Beautifully. If Richard reaches for his wallet, he'll shake hands with Al.
Now, Jane.
Now, listen to me, Irma. You've ruined me. I should never have moved in with you.
But, Jane-
Don't but Jane me.
But I thought
I don't care what you thought. You've ruined everything. Imagine his coming from his mansion on Park Avenue to this dump. Now, to top it off, your boyfriend Al is trying to sell him ripcords.
But, Jane, Al's only trying to fix it so he has security.
Irma, I've got news for you. Richard Rhinelander III has $5 million he hasn't even counted yet.
But after he counts it, what then? He'll be in a rut.
By inviting him to dinner tonight, you've just ruined me. Now, I'm going back in there, apologize, quit my job, and spend the night at the YWCA.
But, Jane, are you a member?
No, but I'll join. And another thing. The next time we meet on the street, I only want you to say one thing. Goodbye.
Will General Motors go for it? Richard, their tongues are hanging out for ripcord.
Well, Al,
Richard,
I really don't...
I mean, Mr. Rhinelander, I can't tell you how sorry I am.
Sorry? About what?
Oh, you know, bringing you down here and having you meet people like Al and Irma.
Why,
and...
Jane, you've nothing to be sorry about. I'm delighted to have met two such real people as Al and Irma.
And we're delighted to have met a millionaire with money.
Oh, Irma, how could you?
Now, leave her alone, Jane. That's what I like about Irma now. They're so natural and honest.
Oh, Dickie, thank you for that vote of confidence.
I'm so happy for you, Mr. Rhinelander. Now you can have security.
You see, Jane...
You see, Richard, you were so wealthy and you live on Park Avenue and everything, and I thought your coming here, well, I tried to impress you, and I guess I've just been a fool. Well, I don't know what to say.
Well, I'd like to say thank you, Jane, for a splendid evening. I like your apartment, and I think Al and Irma are swell. And, Al, if you've got time, I want you to drop into the office, and maybe we can go into your ripcord proposition at length. Well, I've got to run along now. Goodbye, Jane, and please invite me again real soon.
Goodbye, Richard.
Well, gotta run now.
Where are you going, honey?
Where am I going? Now I gotta see where I can get hold of some ripcord.
That's my friend Al.
And that's my friend Irma.
My Friend Irma was written and directed by Cy Howard. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
All day today in Hyde Park, New York, thousands of men, women, and children have filed reverently past the shrine and looked upon an inscription which reads, born January the 30th, 1882, died April the 12th, 1945. For this is the 65th anniversary of the birth date of Franklin Delano Roosevelt. And this is the shrine where now he sleeps, forever with the immortals. But there is another shrine where Franklin Roosevelt lives with the living, with tiny boys and girls who find in his memory and achievements the inspiration to go on and overcome the obstacles of twisted limbs, to triumph over the ravages of infantile paralysis. This shrine in Warm Springs, Georgia, and in similar places all over the country, is a testimonial to man's humanity to man. You created it, ladies and gentlemen. You, at his request, started the March of Dimes so that little children might walk. Let us dedicate ourselves to the perpetuation of that cause. Let us honor the dead by serving the living. Keep those dimes rolling. Keep our children walking. Give, and keep right on giving. Mother, can you spare a dime?
Recently, the owner of Facebook had to face Congress over personal information on Facebook users. In addition, users were saying that their postings were being deleted. Getting sick and tired of your censorship and your data being used without your permission? Do something about it now. Come to MeWe, the internet social site that values your freedom. No more deleted postings. Make a step to freedom. Sign up today. It's easy. Go to www.MeWe.com. That's M-E-W-E. MeWe, the internet's free speech social site. From America's heartland, this is GJRB, Clinton, Iowa. And you're listening to Radio Land on GJRB Online. And I hope you enjoyed my friend Irma. Kind of a funny show. Time unknown for that episode. We'll find another episode, let you know where it's from. This next hour, we're going to feature an episode of a show called Radio City Playhouse, with an episode called Whistle, Daughter, Whistle, originally aired July 31st, 1948. Then it's Mercedes McCambridge in Defense Attorney from August 31st, 1951. And now, let's go back to 1948, July 31st, for Radio City Playhouse and Whistle, Daughter Whistle, in Radio Land.
The National Broadcasting Company presents Radio City Playhouse, Attraction 4. Tonight, from the deft and versatile pen of Mr. Ernest Kenoy, a writer for whom our admiration grows with every passing week, we present Whistle, Daughter, Whistle. Both Mr. Kenoy and our fine director friend, Mr. Junkin, have been giggling through most of the afternoon's rehearsal. It is their sincere hope, and ours too, that you will giggle for the rest of the evening. In any case, garbed in calico and armed with a broom, Radio City Playhouse presents Attraction 4, Whistle, Daughter, Whistle. Every Sunday morning, the New York Times brings you 4 or 5 pages of sweet, smiling pictures with little stories underneath. Ethel Glasgow, wed, or Sue Potter, plans, or Miss De La Visée, betrothed, and sometimes just Jones-Smith. Well, usually the pretty brides end up wrapped around salami sandwiches or spread out on the kitchen floor as the weekly wash drips water down their newsprint décolletés. But in Peggy Mark's house, the Sunday society pages last well into the week. Peggy's mother saves them carefully. Every night she spreads them out on the dining room table after supper. Mrs. Marks loves weddings.
Did you see this one, Peggy? Peggy.
Huh?
I'm talking to you.
So?
Did you read this one? Southampton. Mr. and Mrs. Alistair Allen
Ma.
of New York, Southampton, and Miami announced the
Ma, for
engagement.
crying out
Graduate
loud.
of the Spence School and Mount Holyoke. Isn't that interesting?
Fascinating. Does it say what she got in freshman English?
I don't see it. Maybe further down.
Never mind, Ma.
It says here she rides horses.
I'll bet. Ma, you got the tact of a brewery truck.
Did you ever notice? Always the rich girls get the rich boys. It's fun.
The scream.
What's the matter with you tonight, Peggy? You don't feel well.
Why don't you lay off?
What's the matter all of a sudden? I'm just reading the newspaper, that's all.
Always the wedding announcement. Do you ever read movie reviews to me? Or maybe the sports section?
How coincidence.
Yeah.
They all look so happy in the picture.
Why don't you quit needling?
Needling? Who's needling? Her mother has a right to worry. The clock don't run backwards.
All right. So I'm practically brittle with age. I look like Lost Horizons. Ma, I'm only 26. What's the rush? There are a couple of guys I like, and a couple of them like me. I'll get around to it.
It should only be soon.
Oh, there you go again. Ma, I put in a hard day down at the office. From 9 to 5, I look into wide open mouths while the doctor fills the teeth. Give me a rest when I get home, will you?
See? That's what I mean. If you had a nice husband, you wouldn't have to work so hard.
I should have known I can't win.
You know, they say our dentist makes a pretty good living.
Hold it. Stop right there. Dr. Prentice is 45. He's got a wife, 3 children, and flat feet. And on top of that, I don't think he likes me particularly.
I didn't mean that dentist. I meant the other dentist.
What other dentist?
The boy upstairs. He's just getting out of school this month. I met his mother over the washing machine in the basement. She has crouton curtains.
Sort of crummy, huh?
What?
It's creton, Ma, creton. A crouton is bread.
Creton. It covers the windows. Where was I?
I won't talk.
Oh, yeah, the other dentist. He's a nice boy. I met him in the elevator.
Is that the curly-headed one that gets on to the 5th floor?
5B. You noticed him?
Ma, cut it out. I can smell a plot a mile away.
I wouldn't say I would.
Okay, then that's settled. Okay, Ma. I give up.
What do you mean?
Come on, get your coat. We'll go to a movie, then have a soda. It's a murder picture with Humphrey Bogart by Loewy. There's a corpse every 2 minutes. That ought to get your mind off orange blossoms.
Hello, Mrs. Marks. Washing again. Oh, hello, Mrs. Kellett. I really tend to having a washing machine in the basement. You remember the old days? Do I? Don't talk. I still got a backache. There. It's done. I'll be out in a minute.
Don't hurry, Mrs. Marks. Rest yourself a while. That's what my boy always says. Ma, rest yourself.
Your son is in college.
He graduates dental school next month.
No, isn't that nice? It's so nice to have a doctor in the family. I was telling my daughter Peggy, it's so nice to have a doctor in the family.
A dentist.
The same thing. You know, it's a real coincidence.
You got a dentist?
No, Peggy works for one.
Oh, what do you know?
Dr. Prentice downtown. But he's married.
What?
I mean, she isn't happy working where she is.
Oh.
My Peggy likes a position with a dentist.
You know, Mrs. Marks, my boy Ellen gets out of school next month, and I... No.
What, Mrs. Kellett? Why?
No, not silly.
I haven't sex say it.
Wouldn't it be interesting if...
Yeah.
Well, he's going to start practicing right after.
Uh-huh.
And you'll need a nurse in his office.
Oh, now I see what you mean.
It would be real convenient.
It certainly would, maybe more.
Why not, Mrs. Marks? Why not? Your Peggy is a fine, sensible girl.
She certainly is, Mrs. Kellett. I shouldn't say it about my own, but if she was a perfect stranger, I couldn't say no different.
It's only fair.
And independent, too. Honestly, the way some mothers would strangle a girl with apron strings. A shame.
I always say live, so you should let somebody else live, too.
Ah, that's so true, Mrs. Kellett.
Wait, Mrs. Marks, I just thought of something.
Yeah.
My Ellen said something about a dance for graduation.
So?
You know, it isn't that he hasn't always got a lot of girls chasing after him. A dentist is quite paquet.
Of course, naturally.
But I'm sure he'd just love to take your Peggy.
Well, you know, Mrs. Kellett, my Peggy's a very popular girl. She could have 3, 4 professional men just like that.
Naturally, Mrs. Marks, of course.
But maybe she would just happen to have a free evening. It wouldn't be so easy, Mrs. Kellett. Like I said, my Peggy's awful independent.
I'm not telling you no secrets, Mrs. Marks. My yelling is like a mule.
When is the graduation dance?
Next month.
A month. Well, that gives us plenty time, don't it, Mrs. Kellett?
It certainly does, Mrs. Marks.
So stand still. You've on the dress should fit or no?
Fit. Ma, you're sewing me in so tight I'll have to dance sideways.
I want you should look your best. After all, you don't go to a graduation dance every night.
If I could help it, I wouldn't go at all.
Peggy?
I just want you to know that you're not getting away with anything.
What are you talking about? Live down tired.
I knew what you were doing. You've been laying a trap for me for a month.
You should shame
All
yourself.
of a sudden. Peggy, why don't you get a new dress?
Stand still.
Peggy, why don't you get your hair done?
Don't you want to look nice?
Sure, you got me like a fly in a spider web, like a rat in a trap.
You could have said no.
After you told him on the phone I was dying to go?
That's what you said.
Ma, you know darn well that I said I'd die before I went.
It's the same thing. Besides, you were in the shower. I couldn't hear.
All right, Ma, all right. You got me strapped into this banana peel you call a dress. And you got me roped into this collegiate brawl.
Put down the hand.
But I'm not going to like it.
All right, don't like it. Breathe in.
If you zip that up the back, I'll never breathe out.
Don't be silly. There. Ha! You look so pretty. Like a Cinderella.
At midnight, I'll turn into a second molar. Well, where's young Dr. Kildare?
He'll be here. He anxious.
Might as well get it over with now, like an extraction. What did you say the young hopefuls' name is?
Ellen Kellett. Dr. Ellen Kellett.
Right on cue. Ma, you look like a cat that's been eating canary pie.
Go on, there he is. Don't keep him waiting.
Well, you answer it, Ma. I've got to put my face on straight.
Honestly.
And, Ma,
So?
I'll dance with Heaven's gift to the American bicuspid. But that's all. Understand? That's all.
Go already. All right, all right. Come in, come
Mrs.
in.
Marks, I came for Peggy.
Come in. Sit down a while. She's inside with the face. Ah, a regular full-dress gentleman.
Between you and me, I rented it.
It fits like a glove.
Yeah, too bad it's a suit, huh?
So sit down. Oh,
What's the matter?
you're squashing your tail.
Oh, thanks.
So have a piece fruit, maybe a tangerine?
No, thanks. I just had supper.
I know, red cabbage. You could smell it all over the house.
Mom makes it sweet and sour.
The best way. She uses vinegar for sour.
Lemon.
Ah. Well, lemon is good, too. My mama used to say... Oh, Peggy, this is Dr. Kellett. Dr. Kellett, this is my Peggy. Now go. Go have a real good time.
Well?
Huh?
I said, well.
Well, what?
I don't know, just well.
Oh. Peggy,
Oh,
you want to dance?
oh, sure.
Something wrong?
You're standing on my dress.
Oh. Huh. I'm sorry.
Don't mention it.
Said I was sorry.
Okay. Let's dance.
Suits me.
Oh.
Oh, I'm sorry. Hey, it's crowded here. Maybe we should have come earlier.
I don't know. Looks like a long evening the way it is.
Peggy,
Yeah, Ma.
so how was it?
I'll tell you tomorrow, Ma.
Tomorrow. Whole night I didn't close my eyes. Come in here.
Look, I'm tired. Can't I
Whole
just...
night I didn't slip a wink, not a pussy nap.
All right, Ma.
Turn on the light.
Wait till I get my coat off. Now, what is it?
Now sit down on the bed.
Oh, my feet.
You dance?
I dance.
A record or a real band?
5 pieces. All you could hear was the drum.
A real fine affair. Did you go in a taxi?
Yep. Young Dr. Callett flinched every time the meter jumped.
How did you like him?
In detail or a rough sketch?
Honestly, Peggy, sometimes I get so aggravated.
You get aggravated.
Peggy, before I bust, just tell me. I wouldn't ask anymore.
Well,
did you have a good time?
No.
Let me put it this way.
I don't care which way you put it.
He's a nice boy.
I warned you before I went, Ma. Why can't you grow up? It's not your business to pick out a husband for me. This isn't the Middle Ages.
My mama fixed it so I should meet your papa. Rest his soul. You're better than me.
Oh, that isn't it, and you know it.
What more would you want? That Helen is a nice boy.
Ma.
Even good looking. So what's glasses? And a doctor, they look distinguished.
I'm not going to sit up all night to listen to this.
Who's keeping you? Only such a boy you should get.
Look, Ma, my feet hurt. The zipper's jammed on my dress. I got to get up early tomorrow, and I'm sick and tired of your nagging all the time. Peggy, get married. So quit.
What did I say?
Oh, no.
I keep quiet all the time like a clam. I keep still.
I'll never learn.
To my grave, I'll go without a word. No one should know my daughter talks like a knife in my heart.
Please, Ma.
A dentist isn't good enough. You want a millionaire, maybe?
I'll let you know in the morning. Good night, Ma.
Peggy.
What now?
You're sure maybe you didn't like him? Just a little bit?
Hello, Mrs. Marks. You've been shopping.
Oh, hello, Mrs. Kellett. I just wheeled the wagon all the way from Broadway.
You shop by your supermarket.
Since I got the grocery wagon, such an invention, it's almost a pleasure.
Such a big load. Mrs. Marks, mocha muesli.
I didn't even know what it is, honest. In the supermarket, I just can't keep my hands off the shelf.
With me the same. If it's self-service, I buy like I'm moving to a desert island.
You're waiting for somebody.
Just standing. It's so nice out. In my apartment, we get sun 10 minutes between 5 and 5:30. It's a novelty.
We got a sudden explosion in the living room.
You're lucky?
Lucky. Hey, listen, Mrs. Kellett. In the summer, it's so hot you could fry an egg on the carpet.
You can't have your cake with frosting, too. I always say.
You're right, you're right.
Like, for example, Mrs. Winter.
You heard?
If I heard, it isn't enough her son and daughter-in-law have to live with her, but that woman wouldn't even let them go by their movies alone.
I saw. Always the mama could drive a couple crazy.
Such interference. And it's some people.
It shouldn't be you and me, Mrs. Kellett.
Such an idea.
I know it's foolish.
Pardon me, Mrs. Marks, but...
What is it, Mrs. Kellett?
Well, I suppose I shouldn't ask. Your Peggy, she had a good time last night.
A good time? Oh, Mrs. Kellett.
Did she?
She woke me up when she came in. Honestly, I thought she was crazy. She had such a good time. She was laughing and singing like it was her first party.
Honest?
Look, I shouldn't tell you. I promised with across my heart I wouldn't tell you.
Mrs. Marks, we're old friends. You wouldn't tell me.
Did I say I wouldn't?
So, what was?
My Peggy told me.
Uh-huh.
We shouldn't breathe our words.
Like cartoons.
She said, I can't.
Honestly, Mrs. Marks.
Said she? She never met a boy like your Ellen before.
She did.
Well, not in so many words.
That's very interesting, Mrs. Marks. Very interesting.
And your Ellen, how did he like that? The dance?
Well,
he told you.
My Ellen tells me everything.
Of course, of course.
Naturally, a boy like Ellen is very careful. So many girls keep throwing themselves at a professional man. I don't mean your Peggy, Mrs. Marks.
No offense, Mrs. Keller.
So where was I?
About Helen.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised. Maybe it's a little soon, but I wouldn't be surprised.
No.
Why not? Mrs. Marks, I got to go upstairs.
Is the elevator fixed?
Was out again.
I had to walk downstairs. Honestly, I never feel safe since they put in that automatic elevator.
I get cold shivers every time that door closes. It's like a coffin standing up.
Mark my words, Mrs. Kellett. Somebody, someday is going to get caught in that elevator.
It shouldn't only be us, Mrs. Marks. Knock on wood.
Well, hurry up. I'm dropping the egg.
Oh, it's you. And take your parcel.
Thanks. 5.
Right.
5 and 6.
Nice out.
It'll do.
What's the matter now?
Duck.
No.
Well, that won't help.
What do you do?
You might push the emergency button. The red one.
Oh. Yeah. Now what?
We wait till Mr. Hector comes back from his pinochle game and gets us out.
Hey, I can't stay in here. I'll be late for the clinic.
Well, those unfilled incisors will just have to wait.
Now, I can't figure you out.
You have to?
Here you go all around Robin Hood's barn trying to get me to take you to that dance, and then you keep needling me all the time.
Wait a minute. I tried to get you to take me.
My mother said that the very least thing I could do
Hold it.
What's the matter?
I begin to smell a maternal wrath.
I don't get it.
Your mother told you I wanted a date?
She said it would be a blessing to take you.
Uh-huh. You should have heard my mother. He's such a shy boy. Do a good deed for once.
Me? Shy?
Like a violet, she said.
Oh, I'll be doggone.
That makes two of us.
Oh. Why?
Well, I don't know about you, but my mother will walk the earth like the ghost of Hamlet's father until I, get married.
Oh.
What's the matter? You're turning green.
Every time I go out with a girl, my mother wants to know her family tree down to the roots.
Alan, my boy, I feel the hounds closing in.
That's why you were sore the other night.
After the dancing, I had other reasons.
Yeah, I'm pretty bum at it. 2 left feet.
I've seen worse.
You know, I was kind of mad myself last time my mother shanghaied me into one of those things the girl outweighed me 50 pounds.
The last one I had palmed off on me turned out to be married. Claimed his wife didn't understand him.
Uh-huh. What happened?
I walked home from Tremont Avenue.
How long do you figure we'll be stuck in here?
Depends on the meld.
What?
The meld. The score on Mr. Hector's pinochle game.
Well, I'm going to sit on the floor. You care to join me, Peggy?
Well, okay. Read any good books lately? Never mind.
Okay. Funny, isn't it? After all that finagling to get us together, we end up stuck in the elevator.
My mother would call it real romantic.
Yeah. You know, it is at that.
Go ahead, bite your nose.
It's ridiculous.
What's ridiculous? You wait for a dentist now. You could wait for another
but
dentist.
I don't
But nothing. Your Dr. Prentice is all the way downtown.
Oh, it's silly.
What silly? The same money and only 4 blocks away. Besides, he's such a nice boy.
That's what I mean.
Listen, I had enough. I'm up to here. You're stuck in the elevator for 2 hours. Finally, he asks you to work in his new office, and what happens?
I say no.
Ah, what did I do to deserve such a daughter?
I don't see what you're complaining about.
Please, Peggy, let's talk calm. Don't get excited.
Excited? Who's excited?
Look, the boy asks you should work in his office, right?
Yeah.
It's the same money and would save an hour every day from the subway.
I suppose.
So?
No.
Nah.
And you know why.
Why? There's a reason why. If I taught 100 years, I couldn't find a reason.
I could. Angled me into that graduation dance with Alan. You and Mrs. Callett. Now you're trying to haul me into that kid's office. I wouldn't be surprised if you pulled the plugs on that elevator.
Such a thing to say.
My, you're subtle like a bulldozer.
Now, why?
Never mind. You don't fool me for a minute. I'll bet you got the silver pattern all picked out.
Nah, you talk foolish.
Maybe. Just remember, when I'm good and ready to get married, I'll pick myself out somebody. Then I'll let you know. Honestly, Ma, you act like this was China or something.
All right. Forget I said anything. Go ahead. Go downtown every morning on the subway in the rush hour. Go ahead. Get yourself smashed in like a sardine. Come home with a black eye from somebody's elbow.
Oh, Ma, please.
All right. Be a dope. I wouldn't say another word.
I'll take odds.
Why?
Never mind, Ma. Only remember, I'm not going to work in Alan's office. You understand? Never.
Sure, never.
Okay. Now, what's for dinner?
Another piece cake with your tea, Mrs. Kellett. It's right in the bread box.
Thanks, now, Mrs. Marks. I ate already, too.
2, you had 4, but have another.
I wouldn't dare. I'd bust right out of my dress.
I always figure I use a saccharine tablet in the tea so I can take all the cake I want. It's good. It's from O'Brien.
I always used to bake my own cake.
Me too. But O'Brien's is good. My Ellen always asks, Ma, how come you don't bake no more? When you got a man in the house, there's a reason to cook. I don't know. My mister would be happy if I had only pot roast and potatoes. Maybe a chicken once in a while. You got trouble. Every day my Peggy changes her diet. Monday she's eating cottage cheese. Tuesday it's walnuts. Wednesday maybe whole wheat toast. It could drive a person crazy cooking lunch.
Peggy comes home for lunch.
For 2 weeks now, since she's working for your Ellen.
Ellen doesn't even take off for lunch. She's working so hard.
Mrs. Kellett, I got a TL for you from mine Peggy.
So tell me.
She says, your Ellen makes a better upper plate than anybody she ever saw. Real pretty.
He's a good boy. He says your Peggy works real hard.
They look nice together, don't they, Mrs. Kellett?
They certainly do, Mrs. Marks.
So, Mrs. Kellett.
So?
What next?
Thank heaven, such a day I thought I'd never see.
Oh, take it easy, Ma.
Are you ready? Did you pack the new shoes?
Yes, Ma.
And the fancy hat?
Everything's all in. Stop fussing, will you?
Who's fussing? Let's see. Should be something borrowed and something with the bluing.
Blue, Ma, blue. Bluing's for the laundry.
So what's wrong? For our wedding, you shouldn't be clean.
Oh, for heaven's sake, will you sit out a while?
Who can sit? Her daughter only gets married once in a while.
This one nearly didn't. I'm honest, Ma. The only reason I turned Ellen down 3 times was because I knew you were hovering around like a buzzard waiting for a carcass.
A buzzard? You called your own mother for shame.
I'm not kidding. When I saw that triumphal grin of yours, I came close to calling the whole thing off. Except, I guess I could have loved the guy.
Of course. I always knew my Peggy would pick out a good boy. Such a smart girl you were. I remember when you recited at the P.S. graduation.
Oh, cut it out, will you, Ma? You'll have time to cry later.
Her wedding. My David, rest his soul, should be here.
Yeah. I guess it would be nice.
I always say it's nice to have a doctor in the family.
A dentist.
Dentist, doctor. He wears a white coat.
So does a barber. Only remember, Ma, I'm marrying him in spite of you, not because.
Naturally.
Just so you're marrying him someday, that's enough for me.
Well, congratulations, Ma. You've earned them.
Me?
Nobody else. Thank heaven that's the last of us. Ma, you can rest now.
A beautiful wedding, Mrs. Marks.
Lovely, Mrs. Kellett. Lovely.
And it's a blessing to see a boy should get a nice, smart girl like your Peggy.
A match, Mrs. Kellett, a match. Your Ellen will go far.
Thank you.
It's a load off my mind. Confidentially, I can tell you now.
A secret.
Not that I'd be interfering with Peggy. Oh, never, I'm saying.
Neither me, Mrs. Marks. Always with Ellen his own way.
But honest, Mrs. Kellett, sometimes I thought my Peggy would end up an old maid. Such a stubborn girl. Stubborn, Mrs. Kellett.
You think maybe it was easy with mine Ellen, not interfering ever?
Nah, never.
But honestly, I'm not forgetting times I wanted to shake that fine dentist like a mop out the window.
So right, Mrs. Kellett.
Yes.
Don't I know?
Well, it's done now. All over.
All over. All over.
Wait, Mrs. Kellett, wait. It's just beginning.
You have just heard Whistle, Daughter, Whistle, as written by Ernest Kenoy and directed by Harry W. Junkin. Our 2 lovable mamas, Mrs. Callett and Mrs. Marks, were played by Lenore Garland and Mildred Clinton. Peggy was Jean Tatum, Alan Lamont Johnson. The music was composed and conducted by Dr. Roy Shields. Radio City Playhouse is supervised for the National Broadcasting Company by Richard P. McDonough. Next week, Radio City Playhouse will offer another script by our director.